there's a clipping of the newspaper which says something about 10% of all American people are in a hypnotic state. Just a little clipping on my desk said, and the two psychiatrists have been saying that. Probably they're, you know, amongst the 10%. You know, and my young man who sent me the clipping called those two scientists up and talked to them. He says, "You couldn't believe it." He said, "These guys are they're like fence posts." I couldn't talk to them. I was talking to them about what you were saying, and they couldn't understand what I was saying. I thought I had met a soulmate, someone who understood what I've been saying all these years. Now, if you want to know the truth, the actual figures for the hypnotic state that people live in is more than 10%, which happens to be, what is 25 million? Is that right? How many is 10%? Yeah. No, in the whole country. 250 million. So how much is 10% of that? Is 25 million. That's right. Maybe if I get my glasses on, my intelligence will come back. More than 10 million. There it is. Well, that was more accurate. More than 10 millions of Americans are so easily hypnotized they're actually walking around in a kind of trance which can cause serious problems, warn two respected psychiatrists who are probably living under a hypnotic state because they got a piece of paper on the wall that says they're intelligent. The psychiatrists describe these people as though get hungry at the mere sight of someone eating, feel itchy if someone scratches, listen to this, reach for a cigarette when someone lights up, constantly buys impulse items from fast-talking salesmen. At least 5% of U.S. population extraordinarily hypnotizable, said Dr. Emery Brittner, director of the Institute of Group Dynamics in Roslyn, New York, who bases his estimates on research of a 20-year career in psychiatry. A sizable segment is so easily hypnotized they are in a constant state of exaggerated suggestibility even when awake and going about their normal daily routine, he warned. They can be easily persuaded to do things afterwards they have no idea why they did them. More than 10 million Americans are stuck in this trance-like state. Do so because the way they've learned to handle life's problems. But there's a way to wake them up, he said. Take a look at your actions, admit that you fall into this category. You must learn to say no, and don't just buy a car because the salesman tells you. Check prices and performance and mileage and study what other dealers offer you before buying. And if you have a decision to make, look at the facts and ask the questions, and then start thinking to yourself, and you'll soon snap out of your trance-like state for good. And they'll read, they'll read that. First of all, they don't know that they're in a trance-like state. And if they're told they're one of them, they'll do everything that this man said in a trance-like state. See what a problem?